morning.
Good morning.
You didn't see I was dancing. You were looking down. I was dancing. Good morning and welcome. Happy Thursday to the Viva Cafe con Leche tribe. Woohoo! Tiffany Bryan, first thing, good morning. I think she likes being the first one on, so we can call her out. Good morning, everyone. And I am the Badass Buddha, also known as Dr. Lori Monaco, coming to you from a kind of dreary fall, autumn now, Southern Connecticut, New England. What am I? I am your teacher, speaker, coach, specializing in mindfulness, transformation, and authenticity. I am your chiropractic physician. I am your weight loss specialist, and I am a soon-to-be author. Look at all these people jumping on. Janine, good morning. Ala Laura, good morning. Chenille, real deal. Buenos dias. And Gladiator Guru, you look absolutely gorgeous this morning.
Oh, thank you. Gracias. As you with the pearls, I'm a pearl person. That's beautiful. I'm tired. I woke up a little later than I normally do on these days. So it's like everything's already in order, and it wasn't today. So buenos dias, good morning, Ana Laura, mi querida. Janine. I wish Janine can pop up her face sometimes. Chenille. Oh, I love it. Tiffany, I love it. Marina seems to be on. Good morning. Hello, mi gente. I am La Margarita, the Gladiator Guru. I am your writer, author, artist. I am your spiritual healing, your creative healing coach. I am your end-of-life doula, your wedding officiant. I am simply marvelous, darling.
Yes, you are.
Drinking black coffee.
Drinking black coffee in my magic mug.
I
breathe in the beauty and breathe out the bullshit. And I love it because I'm right-handed, and that's the part that sticks out to people.
That's so
I can't wait for them to go, what does that say? And I'll say, yes, that's what it says.
I'm waiting on the stuff for the other ones. I can make the other mugs.
Michelle Houston, Marina Rivera, good morning.
Buenos dias. This is my favorite one, the green with the logo on both sides. I don't know.
Yeah.
I love it.
You like that?
I love the logo. If anybody looks at the logo, look it. It's like I'm barefoot. I don't have no fat in my tummy. Lori's chilling, with her little skinny jeans. I just think it's such a perfect cup, and it's just such a shame that only black coffee can be in there.
So much for the Viva Cafe con Leche, right?
I'm missing my cafe con leche like I would miss a lover, like I would miss those sensual nights and mornings. That's how I miss my cafe con leche.
Yes. And we're missing that because we have gone back onto the program because neither of us were happy with the current weight that we are. I had reestablished my goal weight and I never made it down to that. So I am in the process of working on that. And we have one other of our Wednesday night people on our session, Jeanine Mullane's on. And so it's great. And it's a great program for support. Great program for support. So this is the time to do it. Look, I'm going to plug myself because if you're thinking that you want to lose a few pounds, or better yet, don't focus on the weight. You want to just lose some body fat for your health, to look better, to feel better. I do a Wednesday night, 7 p.m. slot, 7 to 8. And I do a Wednesday morning, 9 to 10. And then I don't even know my own times, 9:30 to 10:30, and then an 11 to 12. And you come on and you get the support you need, plus you're losing the weight. And it's a whole eating protocol. And if you start now, you can lose the weight in time for the holidays. So you can show up and be like, that's right. And even if you're not doing, this is the year I think people are really going to push to try to do in-person holidays, because they were like, screw that last year. I don't care what's going on right now. We miss seeing people. So if you want to show up and look just absolutely fabulous, then definitely consider it, and just talk to me. We could set up a consult and I'll tell you about it. Kimberly Sanchez, we missed you. Good morning. How are you feeling? Been sending love and light to you. I know you weren't feeling well, so please let us know how you're doing. And Richie Rich in the house. Good morning.
Yay! It's Paul Richie Rich's coffee. He emailed me. That would be
Emailed
good.
it. Hey, that's talent, man. Let me tell you.
That I've been drinking black every morning. So gracias, Richie.
So how does it taste black though? Is it not too bad?
There's two kinds he brought. They both say dark roast, but one says like fire. So I'm like, oh no, I'm using my milk with that. I'm using my coconut milk because I don't even use regular milk. But
yeah.
So this one I could drink black. I put a little pinch of salt, and I put 2 pinches of cloves, unless I'm putting whole cloves in my grounds. And this is what I drink. So yeah, I don't like adulting. They said if I knew then what I knew now, boy, if I could start all over knowing what I know now, I would have never. No, I was.
The irony is, although it doesn't pertain to you because you've been drinking coffee since you were 4, but for most other people, coffee doesn't start till they become an adult. Most kids don't like coffee and they don't get a taste for coffee until they're older. So to say you're adulting, I think about my kids and how one of them doesn't do any type of coffee. Like she's a teenager and she's like, yeah, I don't think so. It tastes awful.
Nope. And my grandkids, they are drinking. My kids, they were like, oh, don't give them coffee. I'm like, shut up. You were drinking coffee at a young age. And every time I go over to Tiff's house, my grandson specifically, Henny, 14, well, are you going to make coffee? Can you hear me? So I'll make him.
So you make your coffee. That's what you're making. And we kept postponing that one. We've got to have the Gladiator Guru make her coffee. Right, everyone? What do you think? We were going to have an episode where we are in the kitchen with Gladiator Guru. She's going to make her coffee while we have conversation, and then she sits down and drinks. So what do you think? I think that we should definitely have that, right? I totally do.
Totally. I don't know. Kimberly's been over for my coffee. Kimberly, what do you think? But the thing is that, so to me, this is adulting. This is the only,
adulting is black coffee.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
But it's good. Coffee's coffee. And the thing is, I have 5 cups of coffee a day. So right now, I only drink 1. Today I'm drinking it all, but and my cup started here. Normally my café con leche is up here. I only have 1 cup a day. Es que no puedo con ese sabor. And I have my monk fruit sweetener in it. So.
Well, okay. And that's the other thing. We had the conversation last night on our call, and we were talking about how we just so don't like the black coffee to the level that we're not even drinking as much because it just is not satisfying, so we're not getting that orgasmic, type of sensation when drinking it, There's
no arousal. There's no arousal.
There's no arousal.
just the idea that exhilaration of putting my mouth on the rim of that coffee and sipping it. There's no arousal to that. It's like, oh fuck, black coffee, and that's it. And it's like a forced. It's a forced event. But anyway, good morning, Arlene.
Good morning, Arlene.
Richie, don't worry, Papa. It's just around.
She says she loves black coffee with no sugar. God bless you.
You would, Arlene. You would. And look at Marina. Well, I'm sorry. Pardon those black coffee lovers. I just do not. I guess
Marina, black coffee with cinnamon and honey.
I do that with my other stuff. I do my cloves. But it's just not arousing for me. People like their toes suck. Others don't. That's how it is with coffee and café con leche. Black.
You said that because you like your toes sucked, don't you?
I absolutely do. So look at I got a
Got all flustered thinking about his toes getting sucked. Haven't been sucked in a while.
Yeah, my happy mother-in-law. Yeah, I have aunts that it would be like hot, and they'll take it in the little copita, and they just take it one shot like that. And I always wanted to do that. And then I tried it once, and I was like, oh my God, what are they missing in their lives? But then again, potato. I don't.
Exactly.
I
That's
try.
just like people going to Starbucks, right? And I can't tolerate Starbucks unless there's a lot of crap in the stuff. Like I have to have it. I have to have it as with as much cream in it as possible and sugar because it's so strong tasting. It's just the way I just don't like strong coffee. And so my sister would go because my sister's from the West Coast, so she's always, she got into Starbucks long before it was even here. And then when we finally got it here, she'd be like, oh, let's go to Starbucks. And it was the new and in thing. Oh, let's go to Starbucks. And you didn't even order normal. I'm like, what's a venti? What's this? And I said, well, she's like, oh, order this. And I would taste it. I'd be like, oh, that's perfect. That coffee is great. So then she's like, oh, you could just next time just order an Americano or whatever. And I order it and I'm like, this is still strong. What the hell are you talking about? Like, this is just, but my grandmother would have every night after dinner, she would have her cup of espresso and she would put almost half the cup with sugar and she would drink it and then fall right to sleep like a comfortable baby, no problem, like 2 hours after she finished eating and be out the whole night.
That's how I am. But see, my son doesn't like Starbucks because he says it's too strong. But I'll order Starbucks and I always order an extra shot of espresso on the side.
Dang, girl.
And they're like, you want 3 shots? I said, if that's what it is, fine, but I need you to put it on the side because those are sneaky little fuckers. I know when there was an extra shot in it and they would charge me and I would have to go back in. So I always say, give it to me on the side. And then I'll take a sip or 2 off my coffee and then I pour the extra shot. And so I don't know why black coffee affects me this way. Maybe it's because it's a mental thing. It's because I was raised on café con leche since my baby bottle. So maybe that's why I don't. And I don't want to, I don't want to. If that's adulting, then I don't want to go there. I don't want to visit that place. This is temporary.
It is temporary. And then, some people will say, well, if you're giving that up and then you have to go back to it once you get off the program. See, the beauty of the program is that after you get to your goal weight, then the program becomes modified to you're still eating the clean diet, but you're allowed to bring in some, things back in. So like, for instance, you don't eat breakfast. So it uses intermittent fasting. So a window. So you don't have the breakfast in the morning, but then once you go to the maintenance phase, which is basically the rest of your life, you can eat breakfast. Now, in my case, I don't like breakfast. I really am not a big fan of breakfast. So my breakfast then would become my coffee with my milk. I don't drink milk either. I either have almond milk or coconut milk in it, but that's what it would be. That would become my breakfast. And that and just a little monk fruit,
Yeah, and that would be that's all I do now. That's what I've always done. I don't like breakfast either. So that's great confirmation. I'm a little happier right now. Because but then you forget because you're going through this tragedy right here called black coffee in the morning. And so you forget the little things, the little reminders. So mi gente, we have a good conversation today. We really do. And the badass Buddha is going to explain it to you.
Do we want to do our intention and mantra first?
Absolutely.
Are you going to do it?
I start.
I thought you were looking it up. I'm going, okay, she's looking up the intention.
No. What is the intention for today? Be focused. I don't have one right now. I told you I woke up late.
It's okay. You could come up with one.
You know what? Just be focused. Be focused in the things that
Good one.
that you must attend to today. Sometimes when I forget, I like to remind myself of that word. Does anybody ever look for rare words or rare words, word of the day? And I love the one that says tomorrow. And it says what you can do today, but you leave for tomorrow. So let's stay focused and do what we must for today, and then enjoy tomorrow because it's done. So focus. I am focused.
Okay.
I am focused. I have a long day today, so I have to thank you for allowing me to say that.
Wonderful. I am focused. And the mantra today is be the seasons. Be the seasons in your life. Even if you don't live in an area that has seasons, you can be the seasons in your life. Yeah, but you bring in the season yourself. It doesn't matter if you haven't, and you love Florida, so it's nothing.
No, I don't.
Oh, then the hell with you. I don't know. Why are you here then if you don't love it?
I inherited a house.
Oh, yeah, right. That's right.
Because I have kids and the
I forgot to do something. Hold on a second. You keep talking. I've got to run out and do something quickly.
That's fine. So yes, hola milagros. So yes, anybody has any questions while Lori's gone? We're gonna talk about seasons, and I love seasons. And let me know how many people. What's your favorite season out of the 4? And then we can expand on it. Otoño, invierno, primavera o verano. Fall, winter, spring, or summer. Which is your favorite season of the year, regardless of where you live? People love fall to the beginning of winter because that's when the holiday season begins. Marina, spring, me too. It's the rebirth. It's the rebirth of all things living, right? All the trees, the leaves come back to life. It feels like when the trees like this all winter long, and all of a sudden it's going like this. And then you have the flowers busting through the cold ground saying, you know what, I'll be okay. And it just busts through, it cracks through the cold ground. And then everything just starts to fall into place. It's like life. We're breathing in the life when spring comes. So summer is like that lover. It's that, oh, you make me so happy. You make my heart flutter. There's so much to do. You want to just go swimming and go running. And it's just like a breath of fresh air that summer, preparing you for that seasonal autumn when we're gonna have to sit down, grab our number 2 pencils because the fall reminds us of school, of happiness, of yellow, right? When school goes back into seasons, when you start seeing and smelling all the number 2 pencils if you have kids. And that just tells you that fall is the time to sit down and fall forward with your dreams, goals, and visions on paper. And then in the winter, for me, is when you sit and you hibernate and you really can't do much but learn about yourself and all the traumas and all the joys and purge what you don't need and embrace what you do. So when spring is born again, so is the new you, with not so much of all that excess baggage from all the shit you were holding on from the following spring, because that winter helped put your life, everything around you on freeze so that you can do the inner work. And that's what the seasons are to me. They're just like very important, pivotal areas where it said winter's like, all right, you're not going anywhere, so let's do the inner work. There's no more excuses. And you everything freezes except your mind, body, and spirit. And that's when you do the work. And then when spring pops up like slut magic, like hello, and that flower or that weed, because I love weeds. I don't know why people hate them. pops up through that cement.
It depends on the weed.
And it just comes up and you're like, oh my God, how did that weed just struggle to come through that crack in the sidewalk, through the cement? And that's us. That's our winter. That's us breaking through the ice, breaking through all those barriers that we've used as crutches and excuses to keep us where we were, and saying, okay, la primavera, the spring, we're going to spring forward now in my life. So that's what the seasons are to me. So thank you, Marina. Yes, rebirth, birds, butterfly, and Milagro, summer, and Tiffany Bryan said fall. There's really no wrong answer. What season really depicts who you are, really reflects on your inner workings, because there's four. There's four very significant seasons for you to have a reason to grow into your true self. Yay!
So I was listening to what you said, and what you were saying was so beautiful, how you love all of them, like you transition. But interestingly, a lot of people get very depressed during transitional pieces of the seasons. I know I'm a little bit one of them. You were talking about that a little bit too, and that was going to be some of the conversation anyway. So it's season, time, and transition, and why is that? Why, in your opinion, like, what do you think the reason people that do, and some of it is seasonal, they'll say it's seasonal affective disorder, like that it's the light levels, and people get this when they're going into the winter. But I personally find I get a little sad with the end of each season. Well, to a certain level, I have to rephrase that. I get a little sad at the end of summer. I'm ready for the fall. That's the irony of it, is I love fall. I love every start of every season. And I'm always looking forward to the fall. But I think there's this element of me that says summer's ending, and it's the freedom and the free-spiritedness. Summer reminds me very free-spirited. So it's almost like you have to become more regimented in the fall, right? And then I get a little sad when I'm excited about winter coming in, but I do get a little sad. I don't get sad when winter's ending. I look forward to spring. I love spring. And I don't think I get sad when spring is ending and coming into summer. I look forward to it. So I guess it's just the two end pieces.
The end's beginning. Remember that what we consider to be an ending to something is truly just a beginning. But we look at it reverse. We look at it as, oh my God, it's ending. What am I going to do? In my opinion, I think when the cold season starts, because when I went to Connecticut to my sister's, and I was taking care of mommy there before I brought her here to Florida with me, I was like, how the fuck did I survive 39 years of these winters? They were rough. But that's when I discovered all of what I just spoke about. Because, see, what is the hardest love you can imagine to have? Anyone can answer that? What is the most difficult love you can imagine to have? What's the love you need to have, but it's the hardest for you to acquire?
Self-love.
Self-love. And the winter forces you to delve into yourself, to inquire within, to write your pros and cons about where you've been and where you want to go. So a lot of us don't want to face that. We don't want to use the winter. We want to use it as a reason to complain of the cold or to eat more. I mean, there's so many jokes that are said, like how many babies are born in the winter. You know, how many people...
How many people get pregnant in the winter?
Yeah. So, and it's like, so they use every excuse to avoid the one important person they have to face, which is themselves. So through summer, you're having fun, you're sharing with family, you're out there, you're in that free spirit. You know, you're that gypsy out there just rolling with the weather. The days are longer, you know, they're warmer. That's
what I like.
Everything's
I
beautiful.
Have to admit.
So look at summer and look at winter. And summer is what you put out, what you enjoy outside. Winter is inquiring within. How many people can say, I am dedicating this time to do a spring cleaning in my winter? No.
To prepare.
They avoid it. So then the depression sets in because they are not handling their business, which is making their wealth their business by being healthy of mind, body, and spirit. So a lot of them refuse to do that work. So they're blaming the winter, Father Time, the short days, it's cold, I can't do this, they eat, and it's always something, but what are you truly avoiding? So this winter, you know what? Reintroduce yourself to yourself. And let's get the work done. And you know what? It's depressing for me because I am a Connecticut girl. So right now, the badass Buddha told me that yesterday was officially the first day of
fall.
And I'm like, oh, they all blend in for me. So I'm like, unless somebody tells me, because I don't watch the news, then I'm like, it is.
Hey, listen, I lived in Sarasota for a year and I loved the winters there. It was cool. It wasn't hot. It wasn't humid. I was able to go out and I was in shorts with like a sweatshirt and calling home to my mother going, how's the weather up there? She's like, oh, it's snowing. I said, oh, I'm outside on the beach hanging out with the dogs, So
Listen.
we all have our, we have to just embrace it. That's the bottom line. Season, times, and transition. The world just keeps spinning around. Whether we experience the season or not, it is life. It's time. So it just keeps going. And I love what you said, Gladiator Guru, because it is a good time. Winter is a phenomenal time to reflect. I know for me, it's interesting. Years ago, I would get depressed in the winter time. But actually, winter tends to be my best time to be really focused on eating properly, because to me, it's like I've got nothing else to do. It's like there's nothing else distracting me except I'm home and I'm doing this, and I don't necessarily want to go outside too much because it's a little too cold for me or whatever. And so anytime I've ever started a new eating plan or reestablished my eating, it was always in February. Like it was always the end of January, mid-January, February. And I would go steady strong until the beginning of summer. And then I would start to be a little loosey-goosey, But I've always, in the last few years, I found that to be very true about the winter. And I think that's brilliant. I think that's a beautiful thing that we all need to strive towards, and maybe start thinking about it as we go towards it. This is what happens. We get disrupted by the fall. Like the fall, the weather, it's changing, blah, blah, blah. It depends on where you live, and school starts for some, and it's just, it's a different feel. And then next thing you know, the holidays come in. So November kicks in and we got to start preparing for the holidays. We've got to start planning for Thanksgiving, planning for Christmas. Then the holidays come, and then in comes the beginning of the year, and people are like, oh, it's a new year. It's a new me. I'm going to try something new, blah, blah, blah. And then they get really excited, and then they fall like 6 weeks later. They're just like, okay, I'm bored, blah, blah, blah. But if you start saying to yourself now that I am working towards my transition, that I'm not going to say I'm going to wait till the beginning of the year for the new year to start. Why don't I start now? And then when the new year comes, I'll be that much further ahead and I will be ready for it. So like you could say, I'm going to take Gladiator Guru's advice and I'm going to do an inward search upon myself, and I'm going to do this for the winter. Prep it now. What is it that you're going to do? What can you do now to prepare for it? What can you do now to start the change? So maybe it is, I am going to really lose that weight, or I am going to get healthy, or I am going to get a coach and start my own business. And I am going to do all these things. Okay. Start prepping now with the time that you have now, and then pull it in a full swing to where you can really focus on it in the wintertime.
Start prepping, but use also, if you got to do it simultaneously, or if you got to do a week on, week off. But you must face your demons first, because it don't matter how much prepping you do. It doesn't matter how much planning you do, in my opinion. We're talking about opinions. Good morning, Carmen Nieves. And yes, Milagros, I love that. To evaluate your life, even your sex life. Absolutely. Start talking about sex life, because I haven't had one in 2 years. And because people do avoid themselves. So I agree with you, because I would plan and I would prep. Have a great day, Charlotte. I would do all of this. And guess what happens? If I didn't mentally and emotionally prepare myself for the challenges, then I always fell short. So you know what? you're going to have to face those demons. You're going to have to rip the scabs off those old wounds that didn't heal properly because you neglected them to begin with. Then you're never going to reach the stages in life that you need to go to, because you're always going to pull yourself back. It's not anyone else doing anything to you, preventing you. You are preventing yourself because you're still not feeling well inside. So that self-doubt, that lack of self-trust is what's going to prevent you from becoming the best you can possibly be. You know, it's like when you do the inner work throughout the seasons, and I love the way the badass Buddha said it about the holidays, Thanksgiving, it overwhelms us, especially women, not me because I don't cook.
But it also distracts us too.
Yes, but it's overwhelming. But then our moods were short. Our kids bump into us. We're like, what the hell? Why are you so close to me? Sit over there. We run to the grocery store to get those last minute things. A stranger steps on our toe and they're like, oh, I'm sorry. You're like, oh, it's okay. It's okay. Be aware of how you're addressing everything, because we're so quick to yell at the loved ones at home and so quick to accept apologies from strangers when they did worse. And even though it was an accident, you still hurt more than your kid bumping into your thigh as you're coming around, you know, with the dishes. So, I mean, and all of that has something to do with the work that you must complete within yourself. So all we're saying is this season that we're heading into, it's perfect timing. And just like we say, divine time, the universal, when the universe steps in, it's everything. Trust in God's time, you know, trust the process, because everything is on a time. So you know what? Make this your time to reflect and look and face those demons and stop feeding them, and feed your soul with gratitude and love and kindness and self-trust and belief that you're going to get through it. Because you know what? I can write. I have 50 million papers of poetry all over the place. And guess what? Then I put them aside, and then I'm like, oh, I don't know what I wrote. And I start something new, but that's unfinished business. So I've been going through that because that's one part of me. So yes, do that. And if you need help while you're dealing with all of those inner happenings of inquiring within and getting to know yourself, just order one of the Magnum lip balms.
Baby, look, I can hold it with one hand. I can do it with one.
These are my Magnum. They're just special edition. But yes, you get them in black or in the natural color. And remember, these are all biodegradable. It's craft paper. So if this were to fall, it's not going to harm the earth. It's biodegradable. It'll just go right into the ground. This is just paper labeled. There's no plastic shine to it. And then my lip balms are organic. So I did this with earth in mind, and adding just myself a little bit to the equation to love earth and not harm it anymore. So, you know, all the stuff, all the casings, it's a little more than your regular plastic, but it's just like a cheeseburger from McDonald's and a salad from the salad bar at Publix. One's going to be more than the other, but you got to think, why is this food that's bad for me so cheap? And what's good for me is expensive, because you're worth it.
Love it. Love it. Love it. So transitions. If we look at every season as a time to reflect upon the previous season and how much we've transitioned, transformed. So now that we've just started a new season, let's all take this weekend to really reflect upon our summer and say, how did we do? How did we do mentally, emotionally? How did we do physically? How do we feel? Did we accomplish the things that we set into motion, our goals? Did we travel? Did we enjoy ourselves? Did we do all the things that we had planned to do? And if you didn't, don't beat yourself up about it. Now you just have to ask yourself, why? Why wasn't I able to do this? Why wasn't I able to do that? And then go from there, you know, and then say, what can I do differently for this new season? How can I be different for this new season? What didn't I accomplish or finish that I can do at this season?
Yes, it is. Good morning, Lillian. I didn't see her till now. But yeah, absolutely. You know, it's all about self-reflection, right? And I love today's show because the badass is talking to you. She is learning you, Mateo. When you ask him how was school today, he's like, Teacher Maria no learned me today. And I love so
I love that.
because she's talking about what steps to take in to secure your position in your tomorrow. And I'm just reminding you that in order to do that, what you have to clear up. It's like that spring cleaning the garage. You can't get to anything because there's so much crap that you said, let me put in the garage for a later use. And it's been a year and you've never even touched the damn Rubbermaid. So what that means, don't even open it and look through it. Just trash it. Because if you look through it, that old you is going to want to hold on to more. And you know what? I saw this great video, right? This guy was talking and somebody was throwing balls at him. And he's like, yeah, but I can still function. He had two. He goes, I can still function. You see, I'm holding on to all these obstacles from my yesterday, but I can still function. I can still fight. And then another ball comes and then the little one's coming. He's like this and he's bending down and he's like, and I'm still saying, I'm fine. I got this. I'm fine. And then he says, but how can I receive anything new? How can I receive anything good? How can I learn how to navigate the path of my life if I'm holding on to yesterday?
Oh, I love that.
Now, I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember everything he said, but it's about something like that. So then you got to let it go, right? And when we go looking through something that we've had in storage or in our closet for over a year, you know what? It doesn't deserve your time to go through it because obviously you never had to reach for it throughout the year. And if you don't touch something within 3 months, then guess what? You don't need it in your life. That Christmas tree you have for 3 years in your garage, you know you ain't going to use that Christmas tree because now it's going to look like that no matter how much you try to push it down. So and I'm talking out because I've been going through other stuff. Like I purged so much and then I still have all this paperwork that I'm discovering like, oh, Maron, did I just write little things a lot? But you know what? So a lot of it makes sense if you have to go through it. I'm not telling you not to. What I'm saying is you must do the inner work. You must face those demons. You must pull that Band-Aid off and rip off those old scabs and allow for yourself, your inner self, to heal appropriately so that then you can make the transition that Badass was talking about.
Yeah, because I mean, that's how the life is. Life kind of dies off or just stops, pauses, just think about like the trees don't really die off. The plants don't really die off. They just, what you see on the surface goes away. It changes, it alters, and then it grows again in the spring, and it needs the cold winter to be able to protect it and do what it needs to do and germinate underneath the soil and then come out beautifully. And I know, like, I'm a big gardener. I love gardening, and I love in the spring when everything starts to come up and it's just beautiful. I love in the summer when it's just like crazy green and full and overgrown, not too overgrown. But I also love the fall because I get to cut it all back. Like right now it's all dying and some of it's still there, but it starts to die off. But I love going into the beds and trimming everything and cutting it down to like the ground level and then scooping it up. And even though it looks really bare, in my mind, I'm looking at it going, but it's going to look bare for the winter and it'll be nicer if it does snow, because when you don't cut back, like if I've been lazy and I didn't cut back, you have things sticking out of the snow and it looks stupid, and then it gets mushy when the snow melts. But if I cut it back, it looks good. And then in the spring, it's like all of a sudden one day you walk out, what looks brown, all of a sudden this little bit of green starts popping through because it's able to. It has room to grow, just like you said, And I love that. And if we view our lives that way, if we say we're into the next season, what can I trim away? What can I cut back? What can I let go of? What can I get rid of for this season to prepare me for the next season, to prepare me for the season after that, to prepare me for the season after that? And I think that it's if you think of it in that way, there's no room for depression. There's no room for seasonal depression necessarily, because you'll be thinking along the terms of everything that I'm doing today for this season will help me grow in the next season.
Yes. It's like gardening. You have, like here for my butterfly garden, I cannot plant it, whether it's, I'm buying a plant, I'm buying seeds. I'm buying the actual plant to put it in, but I can't do that until February, March. So there's a time regarding what you're planting, whatever your garden, how you want your garden to prosper, it's the seeds you plant. And then every seed comes with a different instruction booklet, right? So in order for you to reap the beauty of whatever it is you're planting, you have to plant it correctly. And then you have to prune it and do all that kind of stuff. Well, and as the badass says, that's what she does. And Marina does too, because she loves flowers and all that. I don't know how many other people do gardening. I know I do. I don't have a green thumb. It's time consuming, but it's a passion. You got to make sure that they have enough water. You check on them every day. And guess what happens? That's all you got to do for yourself. That's all you got to do. That inner work, it can be like this with your gardening, because you're out there and you're pruning and you're cutting off and you're making sure no bugs are bothering it. Oh, damn bugs have been looking at the leaves. And that's you. So you see, it's not as difficult as we make it out to be. Like,
that's right.
You have to face yourself and start. And if you want to start, do it in the mirror. Because that's your only.
Always think of it this way. Life is simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. Because if you ever watch those time-lapse photography or the videos where they show like an outdoor scene, and it shows the winter, and then it shows the snow come up and bubble up and down, and all of a sudden it melts away. Then you see the little green coming up, and then it starts getting bigger, and then it's summer, and then it goes into the fall. We always have 24 hours in the day. We always have 7 days in the week. We always have 12 months out of the year. We have the seasons, whether we see the seasons or not. It's still mentally and emotionally, it's a season. And life comes and goes, and it grows, and it cuts back, and it pauses, and it grows. But we as humans fight this all the time. We, like you, again, what you said was so brilliant, Gladiator Guru, because we often do, like in the winter, we complain about the weather and we use these other things to distract us. Around the holidays, we use the holidays preparation, this or that, to distract us. And then when do we ever get to do the inner work? When do we ever get to do that? We go out and we get our nails done and our toenails done, and we get our hair done, and we go out and shop and we buy clothes, and we think that that's making us feel better. But what we come back to in the end is a closet full of clothes, lots of money spent on nails, getting upset because we broke one 2 days later and that we just spent money on.
Getting upset that they didn't do their job correctly when we I'm sorry, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. No, that's good. And so we don't look at the real piece that needs to be worked on, which is us. And, and I'm not saying, I don't want anybody to sit there and go, well, I can't get my nails done and I can't. No, you can. I can't go shopping. You can. But that has to be, you have to be deciding what's best for you internally, working on yourself. And then those are like added things. It's like, again, if you're talking about the garden, you have to nurture yourself by the garden. You nurture by watering and pruning and feeding it and whatever, and cleaning the garden itself. We have to do that as well. We have to take care of ourselves. We have to give ourselves space, time, forgiveness, all that beautiful stuff. And then in the garden, you can add little tchotchkes, you can add little wind things and spinnies and all this other decorative stuff. That's what the clothes and the nails and the hair and all that is. It's decorative, because in the end, what is it? You still have the core. You take all that decorative stuff out of the garden and you still have that beautiful flower. And that flower is beautiful because it is itself. It's not pretending to be a different flower. It's not pretending to be a bush. It is itself. And that's the beauty of it.
And Marina says something. Marina, you're absolutely correct. what makes you happy, Lillian? But Marina said the gardening takes care of us too. If you do, the badass does it, and Marina, when you do the gardening, you are doing your work because you are not thinking about anything else but how much you enjoy doing what you're doing. And when you put that much joy into growing life, because that when you whatever you grow, it's alive, it's a living thing, right? But you're also healing life. Because if I were to garden and I don't know nothing about it, what's gonna happen to my garden? What am I gonna grow? Nothing. If I did it all wrong, right? So think of it that way. People are like, oh, I have Evie Love. It's a Chinese plant I bought, and I water her, and then I have 3 little munchkins, and I water them, and I talk to them every day because I have to nurture my spirit by giving. And this is the first time that they've lasted this long. I killed a cactus twice.
Yeah, I've killed a cactus too.
And
I
so
don't do good with inside plants. I'm very good at outside plants, not in.
These are inside. So I speak to them every day. I say good morning. When I brought them home, I welcomed them home. And so far, so good. It's been 2 months. And so in doing that, I am realizing my strength and my gumption in moving forward.
And you're connecting. You're also connecting, and you're feeding your spirit. And that's the other piece. And it doesn't have to be gardening. So if like somebody says, well, shit, I really don't like gardening. I don't like getting dirty. I don't like being outside sweating. We're not telling you to go garden. You have to decide what feeds your spirit in the end, because the spirit is what glides through the seasons. Truly, that's really what it comes down to. It's the spirit that's gliding through the seasons. And if your spirit is blocked, you're not going to glide through the seasons and transition properly. So for Gladiator Glory, it made me think of this while you were talking about the plants. In my head, I'm thinking, you're like that with painting. When you get going at night and you're just in that moment and you're just free flowing, that is what we're talking about, is finding the things that allow you to escape in that moment and free flow and to be who you are and let the real you come out. And if it is getting your nails done and shopping, that's great. Just make sure that it's that, because listen, and I'm going to say this even with gardening, I could easily be caught in the moment and be very entwined with and connected with the outside and one with the universe in that moment of gardening. I can also go to Home Depot or a landscaping place and drop like a ridiculous amount of money on plants because I love freaking plants. So I have to be careful, because that other side of me, that more tangible side that is feeding something else, it's not necessarily feeding my spirit. I have to be careful, because if I go there and say, oh, I'm just going to get a couple of plants to fill in this one spot, and then I come back with like 20, and then I get mad because I'm like, I got to put these in the ground because if I leave them out, they're going to die, So it's like, now all of a sudden it's a chore. So I have to be very aware and present in those moments. There are moments where I do like to go shopping. There are moments where I do like to get my nails done. It's not a priority to me because I'm always I'm literally always doing something with my hands, whether I'm building something or gardening or fixing something. So my hands are always dirty. So I'm like, why bother have nails? But that's okay, because that's me. And I'm okay. I'm okay with I'm showing up at Home Depot filthy. I don't give a crap. And don't I always get hit on too. That's always when the guys are looking at me, is when I'm like,
people like that salty smell. People like that salty. Men like that salty smell. Mira, está saladita. But yeah, and all of this is true. And I'm glad we have some gardeners on. I'm glad we had the nails and the shopping.
Yes.
Because you know what? And you're absolutely right. When I'm creating, I am brilliant. And I have the last two weeks, at the end of my seasonal sadness, I would leave my phone. I still do. I leave it in other rooms, and then I'll check it sporadically, or I'm playing music on it, but the phone's not near me. And I have created so many new things that I'll be launching soon. And the thing is that I'm doing the inside work. I'm doing the inside work. I'm walking. I'm talking to myself. I'm speaking to myself in such a beautiful melodic melody. You know, this melody of my tone and everything that the way I would normally not do. And I think that when we fall in love with ourselves and realize that we are the best thing that could have happened to us. And then guess what happens? You speak loving words. The way you want to be spoken to, you speak to you. Because why shouldn't you be spoken to that way? So I think, yes, with the seasons, there's going to be sadness. You're going to be missing people who have passed on or who are no longer in your life. That's human nature.
It's life.
Yeah. And you know what? Life beats you up on its own. Don't engage in it. Don't you say, okay, fine, I'll help you to mistreat me. No, navigate through life, because life is neither good nor bad. It's what we choose to make in whatever curves we're going through in life at that moment. So life isn't good or bad. It's the choices we make regarding where we're at that time in our lives that are. So every choice you make goes back to you, because 5 of us could have told you, don't do it, Margie, don't do it. And I'm still going to eat the tiramisu because that's what I wanted. You understand? So life isn't good or bad. It's your decisions of where you're at spiritually, emotionally at that moment when that part of life, drove by you. Are you going to get on the bus? You're going to get off the bus. That sort of thing.
But you have to reflect upon it. You can't avoid it. That's the thing. And a lot of times, and I've known this personally because I've lived with depression for most of my adult life until the last few years. And in the end, if I'm sad, I have to question myself and say, what is triggering this? Is it something that's legitimately sad? Like yesterday before our wellness call, the group wellness call, I decided to sit down and eat my dinner, and I was watching a show that I hadn't the new season had started over the summer, and I didn't get a chance to watch it. And the very first episode, one of the main characters dies, and I was like, what? Oh my God. And you
watched Chicago Wednesday?
No, it was a different show. It's called Heartland. It's a horse show. It's filmed up in Canada, but one of the main characters died, and I was just like, oh my God. And I was like crying. I'm going, I can't believe this. So that got me sad, and I was fine after that, but it was just, I knew I was sad because something triggered it. But if I start to feel myself getting sad, I ask myself those questions. Where's this coming from? What is triggering this? It's a reflection. Did something trigger it specifically? Do I have a thought in my head? Is it just a feeling? Am I not dealing with something, which I realized that was most of my depression as an adult. I was not dealing with something. I was ignoring something. I was ignoring me, and I was not speaking my truth and standing up for what I needed and what I wanted, or really more what I wanted. So I have to, these are the things that we want to do when you're feeling that as you transition into a season. Think of it as a transition into a new me, a rebirth. I get to rebirth every season. How fabulous is that? Not depressed. Don't get depressed. Say, this is fantastic. I can reinvent myself. And if you like fashion, you could say, hey, I get to reinvent myself with the fashion, because the fashion styles change with every season, which is wonderful, right? I look forward to, I love my flip-flops and my bare feet, but I do love my boots. I got some real nice boots, some real sexy kick-ass boots. And I love wearing my boots, And when I'm done at the winter and I'm ready for spring, I'm like, bye-bye boots. I'm ready for my flip-flops. I'm excited for that transition, rebirth. So think of it that way. And think about this weekend. Think about the things that you can do for this new season that is a rebirth for yourself. What does it reflect? How did your season go? How did the summer go? What didn't you accomplish? What do you need to work on still? What can you look forward to for this new season, for the fall? What are you going to do? Maybe do something different that you've never done before. Maybe go on a hayride. You have hay rides in Florida in the fall?
Yes, and it don't matter. We have farms here, pumpkin farms. I want to go to a pumpkin farm. I don't got no little kids, but I want to go.
Yeah, you don't have
to. I love the smell of the earth, because there's a certain smell for every season that the earth puts out.
Yes.
You just sit there and say, I love the smell of dirt at any time.
I do too. I do too.
Like I can smell. I've loved this so long that I say it's gonna sprinkle. They're like, it's probably gonna rain. I said, no, it's gonna sprinkle because the dirt smells different when it's just a shower as opposed to rain. And I love it. I love it. I go out there and I want to just breathe it in. So there is that. There's so much to the end's beginning. Remember, endings are sad only because we're thinking on a one-way street.
Yes.
It's really that, it's everything ends. Our chapter in this life will come to an end. Everything ends because something always begins. There's never a gap. There's never like a time span where there's nothing. There's never an abyss of nothing, right? It's always se acaba y comienza. Se acaba y comienza. So it's like right there. It's hand in hand. It's just like how you need to be mentally, mind, body, spirit. This is how you got to walk together, the Holy Trinity. You have to remind yourself that you are all, it's this. This is me. And that's how I got to keep flowing in order to reach my full potential and live my purpose. If I keep stopping at every roadblock and then sitting there until somebody comes save me, I'm never going to make it. And then I'm going to say, right. God, why did my life turn out so bad? It's always go back and ask yourself, how the hell am I going to answer that? What did you do? And people hate when I ask them that. Well, what do you do to make it any difference?
And that's not saying that you have to walk your path completely alone. You don't. That's the whole point of a tribe. There are those times where we've worked and we're tired of working on ourselves and we need to sit for a moment. And then sometimes that moment becomes a little too long. And that's where you need the tribe next to you to pick you up, to look down at you and say, hey, Margie, hey, Lori, you're sitting there. What's up? You need some assistance? I'm going to help you. Not I'm going to do things for you. I'm just going to prop you back up and let's walk together. I'll hold your hand. That's the beauty of the tribe, because we are not meant to be able to do things alone. And I think sometimes that's why we get stuck. We refuse to do the inner reflection because we think that we have to do it by ourselves. Well, you do have to reflect internally yourself. You have to make the choice and you have to decide what you need to reflect upon and what needs to change, because we can't know unless we ask you questions. I mean, we do that as that's our job as coaches. But in the end, we can map it all out for you. We can have a discussion with you and say, okay, this is what we worked on, whoever, this is what we worked on. This is what we talked about. This is what you need to work on. And in the end, though, you still have to be the one to take that information and make the change within yourself. So don't use the excuses as, oh, it's the season, I'm depressed, it's the light, it's the short days, it's too cold, it's this or it's that. Think of it as this is a rebirth. Yesterday, I was born again. It was the first day of autumn. I was born again. What am I going to do for this season? December 21st or whatever winter falls on this year, I'm born again. The winter solstice. What do I get to do for this season? Same thing with spring, same thing with summer.
Love it. I love it. The moon's been beautiful as well.
It has. It really has.
Out there,
enjoy it.
Dancing under it in the middle of my street, in the middle of Tiffany Street. That's what I do. And
you know what I haven't done this year, and I usually do, every year I usually look up to see when the meteor showers are, and I sit outside. Meteor showers are great. Usually the best time to see them is like at the weird hours at like midnight to 2 or like 3 to 4 in the morning or whatever. But I think I did it in spring one time, and the one day that it was going to happen was cloudy, so I couldn't watch them. But they happen periodically throughout the year. Certain times there's better views. But if you've never experienced that, it is worth getting your ass up. Even if you fell asleep and set your clock, and even with your children or your grandchildren, it is something so spectacular. But the catch is this: you can't live in an area where there's a lot of light, because you can't see as much. You have to be in a dark area. So that's the only catch. So if you're going somewhere and you looked it up and you say, oh, it's definitely something, it's miraculous to watch. It's just very, I don't know. To me, makes me really realize that we're just one little piece in this universe, So anyway.
Absolutely.
All right, Gladiator Guru. This was a really great conversation today.
It really is. And I think everybody who participated, and I hope you have some takeaways from it, because only you can make that magic happen in your life. Only you can be so filled with gratitude that God has woken you up today, that you are going to show him how appreciative you are with the breath he gave you, and live your life to the best that you can do. For those who say the universe, Yewa, Allah, whatever that your higher power is, be grateful and show your gratitude that you woke up today, because how many people wish they had that opportunity? So let's just appreciate and value that we have another morning to navigate and dance through today, and write down some pointers. You don't got to learn it all today. Just write one thing down that you want to change, that you want to help yourself transform into. That's all it is. Enjoy your seasons. Enjoy this season. And I'll be in Connecticut at the end of October, mi gente. So,
Party!
Get your tickets.
Party time. And on Tuesday's show, we're going to be talking about sorrow and peace, the dichotomy of the two, and how to deal with sorrow, how to deal with, and how to bring more peace into your life. Because in the end, that's the other thing. That's feeding the spirit. Believe me when I tell you, is allowing peace to enter into your life. So very excited about that conversation. So, by the way, I love the way you looked. You look gorgeous today, Gladiator Guru. I love the necklace. It's just so beautiful and
very old. I tell you, I was purging yesterday and I came across some stuff that I did. And I have a lot of jewelry. I have.
Love it.
That I got. But thank you. I love the pearls. You look very Margaret Thatcher with the blue. Is that blue? That's a power. That's a power outfit.
It's black, but
I love it.
Margaret, that all I think of is that scene from Austin Power when he was trying to get his erection to go down, and he's going, Margaret Thatcher on a cold day, Margaret Thatcher on a cold day.
My cousins in Puerto Rico, that's how they call me, Margarita. So they like to mess with me with my name, so they call me Margarita Thatcher. So that's why I said it. I love it. I love when but that's something I look forward to with my Puerto Rico clan. So I hope you didn't get offended.
No, not at all. God, are you kidding me? It'd take a lot to offend me, truly. All right, everybody. Thank you, Tribe, for coming on. Have an absolutely pleasant and beautiful weekend. Do the work that we gave you to do, and we will see you all on Tuesday. And any last words, Gladiator Guru? That's it. We're ready to go.
Have a great weekend. Have a great weekend. Have a great weekend. Prep. Have your pad. Go to Five Below. Buy yourself any size pads, and just, you know what? Create your magic.
Yes. Ooh, I love it. All right. Thanks, everybody, for coming on. And yes, Marina, have a blessed weekend, you too. And from the Badass Buddha, remember, be you, be real, and be extraordinary.
And from the Gladiator Guru, bendiciones. And remember to breathe in the beauty and breathe out the bullshit. Namaste.
Absolutely. Namaste. Bye.